Yeah, I think that they both did a good job today. They both flashed at times. Still a work in progress. We still got work to do, but I thought that they gave some of the receivers a chance at times. Sometimes it's hard when you're not in the tackle situation. Is it a sack? Is it not? You break out. And Justin is he can kind of create on the edge a little bit, so didn't get a chance to see that as much. I thought Matthew made a couple really nice throws down the field. We turned the ball over and threw it to them, which is good for the defense. So we'll keep looking at it, but I thought both of them had positive days.
Over here to the left, Austin.
Ryan, beyond the quarterbacks, as you leave here today after those 15 workouts, how much do you feel like you got accomplished, and how much more is there that you want to see?
With the quarterbacks,
the whole team.
The whole team. This is just the first step, from the season. We got a lot of work to do. We got a good team, though. I think, and I think that this is part of the season. We then have this off season, the summer, preseason, and so we'll just keep building from here. But there's a lot of good pieces, a lot of good leadership starting to form out there, and we try to get a lot of the guys who played a lot of reps out of there early on. So sometimes it's hard to tell, but the overall spring was excellent. The energy was really good. I thought guys got tougher. It was a physical spring.
Over here to the right, Rob.
Brian, what usually lags behind with quarterbacks? I mean, what do they have to kind of catch up with?
That's a good question. So I think that when you're in the meeting room and you're learning the offense, it's one thing to say it, it's one thing to see it on film, it's another thing to do it in a 7-on-7 where there's no rush, and then when the rush is going, so it's all the progression, and so you can't simulate all that. There's nothing you can do. You have to play the game, and so there's so many that goes into the protection, and it's reps, it's experience, it's going through it all. The more you know when you step on the field, the more you're prepared, the better off you're going to be. But there's nothing that replaces experience. So the more these guys get a chance to play and run the offense, the better they'll be.
There were some overthrows. Is that sort of the outcome of maybe with seeing the rush for the first time? You just kind of...
Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it. Getting your feet in the ground, the timing of everything, and how fast it's moving. Or maybe there's a defensive lineman that flashes in front of your face, and being able to move your feet. And again, we have to drill that. We have to get better at that, so those things don't happen. But again, if you've never done it with a real guy rushing at you, it's very, very different. And so the more times they get it, the better they'll be.
Over here to the left, Dave.
Brian, as you enter the Summoners, is there any separation of quarterback between Justin Fields and Matthew Baldwin?
Again, I don't really know right now. I'm going to keep looking at it. I know I keep saying that to you and everybody wants to know, but again, I don't think right now that we're going to kind of make a decision on that. I think it'll continue through the preseason. And right now we only have 3 quarterbacks, and Danny's our 4th, but imagine if someone steps off a curb and hurts their ankle tomorrow, we got 2, and so these guys have to keep going. They're probably all going to have to play one way, shape, or form along the way, so they'll keep going for each other, and as long as that room gets strong, that's the key.
Leaving spring, what position group or position is the biggest concern for you? Last year Urban said it was field safety leaving spring. Is there a certain position that is your biggest concern leaving spring?
Well, I think that the offensive line, we have 4 guys to replace there, and so that's something that there's probably the least experienced in that, and quarterback, the 2 for me. On defense, we have a lot of guys returning with experience. I think that our linebackers have to really produce this year, so that'll be an emphasis point. But I think when you look at it, those guys have played a lot of football, and I think they're really embracing the scheme. So I think that we have good depth there. Now they're going to have to play well and play veteran. So I would say, concern-wise, the O-line, just because they haven't, we lost 4 real guys there. And Thayer didn't play in the spring, so how is that all going to look when we get into the preseason? We do have some guys coming in, which is good. The cavalry coming, which is important, and then quarterback.
Folks, I just got time for 2 more questions. It's a lovely day. I got players here. I want you to talk to players. Over here to the right, Clay.
You had an impromptu reunion there, former guys, NFL guys. How much will those guys mean to you going forward? Was it an orchestrated, hey, you're welcome, we want you? Can you talk about a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the former players here, they built this, and that's the reason why we're all here. And the brotherhood's really, really strong. Mike Thomas came into my office yesterday and had a recruit there. He spent 15, 20 minutes with us just talking about what that means in the NFL and the brotherhood that they have with Ohio State Buckeyes in the NFL. And then those guys coming back to support the guys who are here right now. It's a special group. You can see it. I mean, when you go around, you go from guy to guy. It's not just former Buckeyes. It's NFL greats. It's former Buckeye greats and All-Americans, all conference players. So it's just remarkable when you get around those guys. The excellence that you're around.
Did you see the proposal?
Yeah, I did. And I was told ahead of time of that, and I think that Drew and his girlfriend have a special relationship, so that was good for them to see. The team's reaction was pretty good.
And over finally to the left over here, Doug.
Brian, you guys had a quarterback competition last spring with Lane and Joe, and obviously that was two much more experienced guys. Just in terms for all of us, if maybe try to just understand context of where this competition is now compared to last year, just what's it been like this spring when you have a competition, but again, just too much younger guys?
Yeah, another great question. When you had Joe and Dwayne here, they didn't have a body of work on the field, but they had a body of work practicing. And the coaches and myself, and we had gone through it, and we kind of knew what we had. We saw them in the game, and then we had to kind of make a decision who was ahead right there. The guys we have here, these guys, they should have been in high school at this time last year. So they don't have that body of work. They're still a work in progress. They're still growing. They're still making mistakes. So to say we know where they are in terms of finished product, it's hard to tell, and they still have a long way to go.
Great, Coach. Thank you very much. Okay, folks, if you're in chair.